Cool, now we're going to do the next inner join. And this one, we're going to work with, this is that little deal that we did. And if you're catching this video online, you can find all the resources right here at this URL. It'll also give you a link at the top of this document to the YouTube playlist. So here we have what we did in the class our day. If we wanted to, like a restaurant maybe wants to have its recipes and all of its recipes. Well, we don't want to enter ingredients over and over and over because one time it might be basil spelled correctly. Another time it might be basil spelled incorrectly, right? So we don't want ingredient. We only want to enter everything once. Never enter anything more than once as much as possible. And that's data normalization, database normalization. So we're going to enter all of our ingredients. And if we switch in this ingredients table, if we switch to our restaurant database, so I can list all my databases with which one. How do I list all my databases? What's the command? So there are all my databases. How do I change into my restaurant database? Okay, how do I see all my tables in my restaurant database? The details of all my tables. Okay, and then how do I see what's in ingredients? How do I see the schema of ingredients? And how do I see the contents of ingredients, the records? So we've got ingredients, which has the ingredient name, and then it has the amount, right? Like how much you're going to put into the recipe. So this obviously could have been done better because it should just be ingredient, and then probably the amount should have been stored here, right? Because for this recipe, you're going to use this amount. So that was badly built on my part. I'm just seeing that right now. But that's how you would do it. So here we have the ingredients, and then we have recipes. And for recipes, I just have the recipe name. And it's called recipes. Chocolate chip peanut butter cookies and kale smoothie. And then I have a table that connects them. And the table that connects them is recipe ingredients. And that has recipe ingredient ID, recipe ID, and ingredient ID. So for recipe ID, chocolate chip cookies, select star from recipe ingredient. No, I'm going to do select. Select star from recipe ingredients where recipe ID is equal to 1. What's that going to give me? Yeah, so it's going to give me information about the chocolate chip peanut butter cookies. And it's going to tell me RID, the recipe ID number, and the ingredient ID. And so you can see in this recipe ingredients, which is the transaction table, that it's like this. One recipe can be associated with, can have many recipe ingredients, right? One recipe could have many recipe ingredients. So this one recipe here has many recipe ingredients. And one recipe ingredient can be associated with many recipes. So if I had other recipes that had, I don't know, what's in recipe ingredients? What do I call it? Ingredients. Select star from ingredients. Right? If I had you know, more dessert recipes or more baking recipes. Flour, all-purpose flour, would be used in many different recipes, right? So one ingredient can be used in many different recipes. That all makes sense? So now I need to pull out what ingredients go with what recipe. So let's write this. Select recipe name, ingredient name, ingredient amount. And what would happen if I had the same field in two different tables? How would I deal with that? Prefix it, right? Control C, by the way, starts you over. Select. Let me just do this first. Okay. Select recipes dot recipe name, ingredients dot ingredient name, and I'm just hoping that's what I actually called the fields. I think it is. And ingredient amount from start left to right. Recipes, enter join or just join recipe ingredients on recipes dot recipe ID equals recipe ingredients dot recipe ID join ingredients on, right? See how I'm going left to right? What's next? Recipe ingredients dot IID. What's next? Ingredients dot IID semicolon. And by the way, you see a little colon down there? That means hit spacebar, get more results. So I started over at recipes, select this from start at recipes, join recipe ingredients. Start at recipes and join it to that one. On recipes, RID, recipe ingredients RID, recipes RID, recipe ingredients RID. And then join, take all that stuff, take all this, and then join it to ingredients. Next table over. On, and we're right here, recipe ingredients IID equals ingredients IID. And if you had more tables, just keep going. Join, on, just left to right. You can see that here, recipes, join recipe ingredients, on recipes RID, recipes ingredients RID, join ingredients, on recipes IID, ingredients IID. Right, same thing right up there. So you have all the code there to create those tables. I would just only copy this stuff and I would force myself to type all of this. Copying and pasting isn't the skill you've come here to learn, right? By actually having to type it and then, okay, try to do it from memory, that's going to help. All right, so we're going to see, anybody have any questions or comments or insights? We're going to see the next, another example, the movie database, where we started at the beginning of the semester. We'll see that in the next video.